So let's get into the review proper. Halloween Ends, folks. Just came out a couple nights ago. David Gordon Green directed it. This takes place 4 years after the events of Halloween Kills, where Michael Myers was beaten to death, you think, in the street. He gets up, slaughters half the fucking town, and then disappears. Well, turns out he went to go live in a pipe. And from the very beginning of this movie, we're introduced to a character by the name of Corey Cunningham, played by Rohan Campbell. The first 20 minutes of this movie, I have to say, were fucking incredible.
Yeah,
it was
a good opener.
Loving it. Yeah. What a cold open. We're introduced to Rohan. We're introduced to Corey. He's babysitting a kid who is like literally the biggest piece of shit ever. This kid's antagonizing.
He's not that bad.
Kids.
He called him like fucking ugly butt baby or some shit, whatever he said to him. And, at one point in the night, the kid trying to play a prank on Corey he like lures him into the attic of what is apparently a fucking 20-story house. Right. And he locks him in the attic. And Corey's starting to get a little bit angry, and he fucking kicks the door open and bashes the kid in the face, flips him over the balcony, and he fucking comes crashing to his
over
death
the banister,
in front of his parents. And Corey,
that shit was gruesome as fuck, man.
Yeah, it was a good death scene. I'm not gonna lie.
It was.
Kid's face hit that floor pretty hard. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is
somehow he got off with no type of charge or anything.
Well, yeah. The thing of it is,
it was an accident, but I mean.
Well, keep in mind he was spooked, so he was holding the fucking knife, thinking that some crazy shit was going down. So when the parents come in, he's fucking standing over the kid's dead body with the fucking knife in his hand. They're like, "What'd you do to my son?" Speaking on trauma. This is Corey's trauma. He's been wrongfully. I mean, not only did he did kill a kid, accidental as it may have been.
Yeah.
He's responsible for this kid's death, which obviously would weigh on you.
For sure.
And then he has the whole fucking town of Haddonfield sort of looking at him, as we would come to find out. He's their new boogeyman.
Right.
Town freak.
Yep. Throughout the course of the film, he's introduced to Laurie, played once again by Jamie Lee Curtis, who, by the way, was brilliant in this movie, I thought. And he's getting into a little scuffle with some fucking marching band bullies. Which
who the fuck gets bullied by marching band people? That's not gonna happen to me.
Yeah, nah.
No fucking way.
Y'all don't know about the marching band.
Y'all don't know about that.
The kid from
they got some stamina, I guess. That's for sure.
That's true. They got the lung capacity. But that marching band kid from Illinois had like the thickest Brooklyn accent I've ever heard in my life. He was just like, "Yo, what's up, freak?" It's like, bro. Yeah, and through Laurie, she introduces Corey to her granddaughter Allison, who she's now living with. We find out that in this 4-year interim, Laurie has attempted to heal from her trauma that we were just talking about. She bought a house. She's living with her granddaughter. She's going to therapy. She's writing her memoirs. And she's now we meet a Laurie who's come to terms with the events that have happened to her. And I love the way Jamie Lee Curtis played this in this movie because, especially in the scene in the supermarket with Will Patton's Frank, who they obviously have had a long time sort of will they, won't they love interest.
Right.
But she's playing Laurie the way she played her in 1978. She's like the 19-year-old kid again, free now of this fucking trauma. She's able to be, to have a life. And they're flirting in the supermarket, and Frank is like, "Oh, I like what you did with your hair." And she's like, "Oh, thanks." Like, it was just a cute romantic thing that I thought was fucking awesome because I'm like, we as fans, we should be happy for Laurie. Like, and this is part of my rant is like, what I don't understand is like, I get that you want to see this big showdown between Laurie and Michael, but like, we got that in 2018, number one. We got it in 1978. Michael was never the star of the movie. Laurie was. Michael was just a vehicle for, the story to play out back then. And,
He was driving the trauma truck.
Yep. And obviously he, again, thanks to movie studio executives, he's become synonymous with Halloween, the franchise. He is the face of the franchise, for good or bad. He is what people expect. But that's only because he's in like the cultural zeitgeist now. So, like, I don't know. It's just have some creativity, be open. That's all. That's all I'm asking. But anyway, so I love Jamie Lee Curtis in this movie. I thought she did a great job as Laurie. But the main plot of this movie is that this is Corey's descent into madness. Basically, he's been bullied. He's getting fucking. He's basically like the witch in Salem, Massachusetts, or the town is placing all their fears and things onto him, and he's slowly becoming the product of what that would do to you. And he has a run-in with a now beaten and battered Michael Myers, who's been living in the sewers for 4 years. And there's a moment in this movie that a lot of people, I think, are misunderstanding. There's a moment in the film where he runs into Michael. Michael pulls him close like he's going to choke him, and they kind of lock eyes for a second. And this is just bad filmmaking, because I understand why people are confused. Like, there's a moment of like, you see flashes of like all the bad shit Corey has done in his life.
Yeah, as if Michael was able to look into his soul or something, his memories or something.
It paints this picture of almost like Michael.
Evil can sense evil.
Yeah, it did a really bad job of painting the picture, because it makes it seem like they do this like mind meld thing, and like, and now Corey has Michael's powers.
Make any sense at all?
It wouldn't make sense at all, but that's not what happened. I think.
Yeah.
Even what did happen doesn't make any sense.
Well, okay, so let's get into that a little bit. I joke around with you.
Okay, that's how I felt watching this movie. I was confused, like, what the fuck is happening?
I don't blame you, but
when we first saw Michael in the tunnel, I thought it was gonna be some Fight Club type shit where Michael is a figment of Corey's imagination. Like, it would have made sense too, because I mean, he took a nasty fall. Maybe he had a concussion, knocked some screws loose, and compared with the mental trauma he already has, and Michael terrorized this town. That would have been a cool little twist. But.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't blame you for being confused. As I said, I just think it was presented poorly. I always joke around with you. I call you Drax because you take things literally a lot of the time. You have trouble looking past that. But I've run into a lot of people similarly on Twitter. Like, they saw this movie like just very literally. They see Michael Myers very literally. We'll get into that a little bit more. But in this particular scene, after thinking about it, because this is one of the only movies, honestly, that I didn't like it at first, really, and I still have problems with it. But after letting it marinate for a couple days, I actually do like it. And
that's surprising.
Yeah, I know you guys. I was gonna save it for the end, but after thinking about it, that like and listening to interviews with Jamie Lee Curtis and David Gordon Green, the theme of this movie, specifically of this movie, is how evil is sort of contagious.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not
that's fair.
And not like literally contagious, like I'm evil, so now you are, Marvin. Just more so like how people can affect other people. Like, we see the town's anger and bullying and all the shit they do to Corey eventually, slowly but surely, turns him into what you would expect. It's like if you beat a fucking dog who's otherwise friendly, they're going to become vicious, right?
Yeah.
Fair.
So there was that evil is contagious thing. Now, knowing David Gordon Green and what they did in Kills, there was some clear social commentary here, especially given the fact that David Gordon Green said, oh, well, I was inspired by the pandemic and stuff like that. I think that contagious theme is not literally for like the virus of COVID that's contagious, but the mind virus that we saw play out during the course of this pandemic. People who don't want the vaccine versus people who do, and how you fucking are just being angry to your neighbor for not wanting to do something, or vice versa. And it was just a whole big mess. Regardless of what side of that argument you fall on, I think this is kind of what they were trying to play at here in terms of the pandemic, just based on what he has said. But yes, not a literal mind melding. I think based on that scene that was just poorly executed, one would be like, oh, they have like connected brains now, and Michael is like using Corey to like gain power. And I don't think that's not really what they were going for. I understand that that's what it looked like. So again, poor execution. But
what I saw is Michael and Corey. Okay, Michael not killing Corey, and Corey bringing people for Michael to kill. And so they had a connection.
Yeah, but I don't see it as that.
I just saw it as that's what it looked like, is Michael seeing like the pain of this guy, but it doesn't seem like Michael would have that type of
No.
empathy and compassion. So it
No.
didn't really make sense.
Well, that's the
Right.
core of Michael Myers. It's what Loomis says back in 1978. I met this.
So why wouldn't Michael kill this guy?
Right.
Oh, he does.
I mean, only when he betrays him, though.
But no,
Yeah,
but that's the thing
end-
is, to Michael, it's not a betrayal. It never was anything. It was just there's
Means
this.
to-
So what was it?
Well,
A means to, he was helping him in a way.
again, I don't
Right.
know what it was. That's the thing.
Yeah,
That's one of the
that's-
reasons why this movie
Right,
is
okay.
written
Yeah.
poorly.
Disjointed,
Yeah.
confusing.
Yes,
Thank
It
you.
wasn't like a
absolutely.
means
All
to
right,
a
as long
killing
as we can
end,
agree,
but-
because there's I watch this movie and I'm like, sometimes I'm like, what the fuck? What?
No, I agree.
just
I did.
happened?
I did the
Why
same
am
thing.
I watching this and what is going on?
No, I did the same
Yeah.
thing. I'm not sitting here
Okay.
at all
All right,
defending
all right.
the merits of this movie. I have like
Okay.
what I think is a pretty decent understanding of what they were going for, but that's not me
Sure.
saying that they executed it properly.
Mm.
Okay.
Right.
So I seen a lot of people online saying like he was helping Michael kill to restore Michael's powers. Michael doesn't have powers. Okay. That's another thing. People think Michael's literally supernatural. John Carpenter has always said he's a human. Yes, he's a man with a slight supernatural edge. What that means is like, he's there 1 second and then he's gone. He comes
Right.
out of the fucking shadows. He can maybe fucking take a little bit more physical.
But in this
beat down.
series alone, they hint at him being pure
I know.
evil.
I know.
Or he can't die. So we
Well,
have these
listen,
problems
I understand.
where
but,
you try and explain him away, but it's in the trilogy we're talking about.
yeah, but listen, pure evil, and I think again that came full circle as well, because the other theme of this movie, not just how trauma affects how my trauma could affect you guys, because again in the first movie it's like bookends, right? In the first movie we're witnessing trauma from the person suffering from it.
Yeah.
We don't see really the effect. We see the effects on her family, but not really from their perspective. This movie sees the trauma from the person being affected by it from their perspective. This is Corey, yes, dealing with his own thing, but the trauma of it all, everybody around him, projecting their shit onto him and weighing him down. And there's another little sub-theme going on here, is that evil lives within all of us, right? That's what they come around to at the end of the film. Everybody's capable of doing something bad or evil, whatever your definition of evil is. Everybody's
Subjective.
capable of that. So that's, the last line of the movie is like, evil doesn't die. It changes shape, and
Yeah.
the last shot is of Michael Myers' mask. Like, and that's the final messaging of this film. And to fans of the series and the franchise is that we'll always have Michael Myers. He'll never die. Evil can't die. And this physical manifestation of evil, while yes, can be killed, as we saw, turned into fucking deli meat in this movie. Evil itself cannot be killed because it's everywhere. It's all around us. It's in everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as Michael is the personification of evil, Laurie is the personification of good and innocence. The thing that should and usually does triumph over evil, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's like the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy. By the end of that series, it's very clear that, yes, beneath the mask, it's Bruce Wayne and Batman is flesh and blood. But as a symbol, he's everlasting, right? We'll always have Michael Myers. Haddonfield will always feel his presence. Laurie will probably always feel his presence, even though she moves on and learns how to live with it and all that healing stuff. So his presence will always be there. You don't need a literal Michael Myers in a movie to feel his presence. And this goes back to one of the things that I told you. Like, my movie would have had nothing to do with him. It would have just purely focused on the trauma part of it. You could do a psychological thriller. You could do something like this with the copycat thing, whatever. And it would still have worked. You could still feel Michael's presence without having actual Michael there. And I think part of the reason why they did what they did with him in this movie is to really show that, yes, he is flesh and blood. Look at this fucking pathetic man
Yeah.
who's hiding away in a fucking sewer, gets wrestled by some fucking kid for his mask. A lot of people didn't like that. They're like, oh, we should never see Michael emasculated like that. That's a no-no in Halloween movies. And I'm like,
Yeah.
don't you see what they were going for here? Like, Michael Myers has been built up in the heads of these townspeople, and Laurie as this huge, monstrous, evil boogeyman. He's the boogeyman. And he is like that to fans. And in the cultural zeitgeist of real life, he's the boogeyman. But what is he really? He's a fucking pathetic, broken, beaten fucking man.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of the movie, is that his legacy is more than him himself. Saying like, hey, you could have a fucking Halloween movie without Michael Myers. You know what I mean? At least that's how I took it. I don't know.
I can see that.
But yeah, so like, you know, there is a lot of weak writing in this movie. I'm not denying that. It's confusing at times. It's very out of place in a trilogy. 100%. Yeah. Had this been the movie that was in 2018 or Kills even, maybe would have liked it a little bit better.
Even when like Laurie is talking to what's his name? Corey.
Yeah.
Like when she shows up at the house where he killed the kid and he's sleeping, they have this conversation. Like the script, like the writing is like, oh, this was your plan all along. Like, yeah, it almost alludes to the fact that like they are in cahoots somehow. Well, and she wanted to plan some shit. Like, I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck did he just like? I don't.
Well, we're
like,
also seeing
more confusion, Dan. More confusion.
Not so much for me. I think if we're gonna talk about Allison for a minute, she was obviously drawn to this guy because he's another pariah.
Sure.
And they have that connection. He's, right. You know, he's an attractive guy. But I think we're also witnessing her sort of slip into madness in a different way. Your fucking roommate just scared the fuck out of me.
Did
he just like manifested out of the shadows. He should be the new Michael Myers. Anyway, sleep with one eye open tonight, Dusty.
Yeah.
No, so like that's the theme, is we're seeing how each person is uniquely affected by events. And this was hers. Like she's because of the things that she's experienced, she's open to this fucking clearly deranged lunatic and getting involved in this toxic relationship that she's not really seeing. That happens in real life all the fucking time. People are with toxic assholes and they don't see it until they're kind of like smack the fuck out of it, you know?
It's like trauma bonding. Like,
yes, thank you. Yes, thank you.
But with that, I feel like Corey's descent into that like madness was super like escalated or something. Like it didn't make a lot of sense.
It's quick.
It was way too quick or something.
And that's another valid criticism.
There was no character development. It was just bad writing and bad dialogue.
I disagree that there was bad character development. I think this is one of the few Halloween films ever that has good character development.
I mean, but I guess, but hang on, that makes sense.
What I do think is agree with Marvin that it happens very fast. But yeah, no, for sure. Rushed, sloppily done. The writing was really bad in this movie. Everybody in the town was just like a cartoonish fucking asshole for some reason. The bullies were really the only good,
non-existent.
Yeah. Luckily,
she called them and said, I want to report a suicide, and they showed up 30 minutes later.
Yeah. But, you know, fortunately, the characters that matter, Laurie, Frank, even though Will Patton's kind of sidelined, unfortunately, because he's a great actor. But for Laurie, I thought she was great. I thought Rowan Campbell was great as Corey. I thought he did a really good job. While I don't think this is a good movie by any stretch, like objectively, it's not written well. I think with those central themes that we did see throughout the three, I do think they stuck the landing in that regard. Some of the good things, I thought this movie was really good. I thought the cinematography was great. There's some beautiful shots in this movie. The score, we talked about John Carpenter. He did the soundtrack and the score. I mean,
that first shot where she's standing outside and Michael's standing over by the tree and then disappears was a great scene.
Yeah. Again, I thought the score was great. No surprise there. John Carpenter did it.
Right.
But
I feel like those things are easier to get down in today's, in this age, like than the actual story. Like I feel like it's easier to get good cinematography and a good score.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
That's fair. But I feel like I don't know, focus more on the writing.
No, I
We
agree.
talked about it in the news. Hollywood has a formula
Mhm.
that they know works. They focus on the numbers
And
and
listen,
they try and hit them.
whatever
Yeah.
you feel about this movie, if one thing you can't say is that they followed a formula. They specifically went away from the Halloween formula.
Well, they followed a formula. It may not have been the Halloween formula, but they followed a formula.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked what they were going for here. This is very close to what I would have wanted in a Halloween movie. Give me the fucking Corey story. As I said, that opening 20 minutes was fucking great.
Yeah, we needed more build up before
We don't
he
even
went
need
completely
Michael Myers in a
insane.
movie.
We needed more build up before Corey went completely insane.
Yeah, but
we
you
needed more story of maybe some more interaction of Corey with the boy's parents. I think those scenes were pretty good, and his dad
Mhm.
explaining how he
saw
saw
a
him
different person.
walking back from this, the
Yep.
sewer, and
that
yeah, he was like completely different. Yeah,
I get your sentiment about as far as the trilogy goes, the overall arching sentiment of trauma and dealing with it and whatnot. I get that and respect that they nailed that, but very disjointed,
No, 100%.
very confusing,
Absolutely.
not
Listen,
enjoyable.
I had to sit here for like 2.5 days and watch several interviews with the people who made this movie in order to arrive at my final thesis about it.
Sure.
So that's not something that you want to do. Okay.
Yeah, when you have to go that far down a rabbit hole
Yeah.
to
make
figure it
sense of
out,
it. Yeah,
they
that's
fucked
not
up.
great.
They fucked up.
100%. So ultimately, I don't think this is a great movie. It's not a great Halloween movie, but it is a really good anthology movie. And
It is, yeah.
and actually, you know what? I'm taking it back. In terms of when I say it's not a good Halloween movie, it doesn't have the same lighting and mood and stuff that you would come to expect from a Halloween movie, but this is a good Laurie Strode movie, and I think that's what people lose focus on is, again, Halloween associated with Michael Myers. He's the star of the show, when in actuality, it's Laurie's story. It's always been Laurie's story, and I do think this trilogy is a good Laurie trilogy, and I think this was, while the ending, I think, could have been handled a little bit better, given more gravitas, more weight, kind of just came and went. I still think this was a good final act for Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode. And in interviews, she's been crying and she's been like very emotional. This is a character that this is her first big role. This is what gave her a career. She loves this character.
Right.
She loves the fans. And this is her swan song saying goodbye. Does it work as a swan song? Probably not 100% yes, but I think it was effective enough to where, again, though I don't consider these canon, I could say I know in my heart that Laurie has a good future ahead of her. So yeah, I loved her arc. I think it was great, and I think it was beautiful that she has now come to terms with this. And like, because we see her in this movie, she's not doomsday prepping. She's like, I think he'll be back, but whatever. When he comes, he comes.
Well, okay, so that's my problem with this arc that you're talking about that you love so much, because we see her in the first movie, right? 2018.
Yep.
She basically is prepping, right? She's prepared for the eventuality that it may happen. And then she gets in the fight, goes to the hospital. And then in this movie, we're like, oh yeah, 4 years later, she's just given up. She doesn't care anymore. She's
not giving
put
up though.
that-
She's healing.
She's put that, but I mean,
That's what a lot of people are
I
saying online,
guess.
but it's like, what are you talking
I
about? Like,
Yes,
she
but-
lived for 40 years with this on her
Okay.
back. How long do you want her to go? Like, she's trying to heal and move on. It's not saying, all right, fuck it, that didn't
Well,
happen.
Okay, but all right.
The one
that's like
area,
saying
hang on,
for Israel to heal, they should just tear the walls down and let anybody.
come on, bro.
like,
That's
come
such a
in
different,
and-
that's not even remotely the same. If you have a rape
No.
victim who got raped in a park, like, that person's going to be afraid to go to a park again. They're going to be afraid to go out and walk the streets and be alone. But as you begin
Yes.
to heal, part of the healing process is you have to put that behind you.
Sure,
like-
until you go to the park and get raped again.
Come on, dude. Then now you're being ridiculous.
That's not what happened to Laurie.
I'm not. What? Michael came back,
Yes,
but she was prepared for it. But now she's done. It's like, what?
No,
Nah,
I disagree.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like those examples that you're making. I just think, like, in order to heal from anything, you have to put it behind you. That's the only way. You don't just forget
Yes.
about it and act like it didn't happen. you can
Correct.
you put it over here now. It's not the thing that controls your life. Like, she didn't live a life because of it. Now she is. That's
right, but she's trying. Okay, so I guess my problem here is that she's trying to heal from an entity that cannot die and keeps coming back and back and back and back.
Well, again,
right?
you're mistaken.
You can't heal
because
from that.
He's not an entity, number one. He's a man.
Sure.
And the only reason that you're saying he comes back and back and back is because that's the cultural zeitgeist. Remember, those other sequels don't exist. He's only come back once in this timeline. Okay. The one area I do agree with you with is that we are shown very specific examples of people in the town going missing. Now, if Michael Myers murders half the fucking town and scurries off into the night, and over the course of 4 years, people go missing, probably it's Michael Myers. You would think that they'd be searching for him night and day and all this stuff. So in that regard, I agree with you. Yes. But again, more poor writing. I'm not here defending that this movie's
terrible writing.
The movie was written poorly, but people are sitting here like blaming Jamie Lee Curtis because she's a bit of a social activist.
I don't blame her.
People are like, oh, she's definitely inserted her social commentary into this movie and it suffered for it. Shut the fuck up, because that's not the case.
She certainly had a hand in some of the direction of the film.
Did she do that?
And probably the dialogue, but I don't blame her for wanting to have a hand in it.
Right.
Like,
what caused...
She comedically wrote, I will never sign a... She comedically signed the I will never star in another Halloween movie contract.
Yes. Right.
During this.
Why this movie suffered is because it had 4 writers. David Gordon Green said in an interview that the way they approached the script was they would pick a scenario, like, for instance, Laurie standing at the bottom of the stairs. And then each writer would do their own choose your own adventure.
Oh, God.
And then they would sit down and deliberate and figure out which they liked better and spitball off each other. So this movie is the subject of 4 unique visions instead of one singular vision. That's why it feels disjointed. Not because of fucking like Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah.
Frankenstein script.
Right. But yeah, ultimately, I think that what this trilogy set out to explore, themes of trauma, the theme that, you spending time contemplating the legacy of Michael Myers and the cycle of fear and violence he started in this town, Haddonfield, how it continues, how it could end, and how to move on from it, and how to stop fixating on evil and letting it finally die. Like, those were the central themes of this movie and this trilogy, and I think they did that. All the other stuff, there are valid criticisms for sure, as we said, but that's sort of my thoughts on it. This was an anthology film. I would venture to guess that's what David Gordon Green meant when he said returning to John Carpenter's original vision. I think the recreation of the title intro or the intro credits says that. It's not just a little nod.
So would it have been better if they just left out Michael with?
Well, you know me.
You
know me.
I don't think so.
I said I would have never wanted Michael back because again, I think this movie proves that you could feel his presence without him showing up. Right?
Yeah.
But it was seriously bad writing with or without him.
We're not denying that, but Marvin's asking a question of, do you think Michael Myers needs to ever return to the series? I'm saying no, I don't. I think we need to move on.
He could and it would be all right, or he couldn't and it would be all right. I'm indifferent on the question.
For this story that they were telling of Laurie's story, I don't think you needed Michael Myers to come back. I think they brought him back in 2018 because they knew that that's what fans would have wanted, personally. But who's to say? Ultimately, after thinking about it, I think I enjoyed it. That's not to say it's my fucking favorite movie ever. It's not, all the things I said are exactly that.
I enjoyed it too. I thought the runtime was decent. I didn't think it was too long or anything. I just had the same issues we've already discussed.
I think it's also probably a little different for you too, because you don't have as strong of a tie to the franchise as I might.
Yeah.
So, I said this to you guys in Discord. I was like, I think we're gonna have 3 very different opinions on this movie. You're kind of approaching it from like, oh yeah, it's a cool horror movie I could go check out.
Yeah, that pretty much. I feel like they could have just left from the little bit of Michael that we even saw. They maybe could have just left them out, and
again,
that would have been fine.
I want to be very
This would
clear.
have been a great horror movie if he wouldn't have been. Even the trilogy as a whole, like if they had done the whole thing on Casey, is it Corey the whole time, would have been great. I'd have loved it.
I agree. Yeah.
This is the movie that you decide to do this story in. I can't really get behind it. It's the end of a trilogy. We need to shore up some stuff. In that regard, that's a valid criticism. But again, I still think thematically it worked for what they were for the message that they were trying to get across. And it's not fucking social commentary, bro. Shut the fuck up. It's shit that we all fucking deal with every day. God almighty.
I didn't get any of that.
People are so fucking annoying.
Past the bad writing. It was
that's fair.
Just the bad writing.
Some of the writing was really, really bad. What'd you guys think of the end fight? I thought, I've seen some criticisms about it. It's too short, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was like pretty good. I thought it was entertaining.
I think it was good. That arthritis was definitely hitting Michael.
When she got the second hand down, I was like, all right, we're going to see some cool shit here, baby.
Yeah.
A little excited.
I got a little emotional. I got a little choke in my throat when he chokes her. And you get that flashback of like the original movie. Oh, I'm getting a little choked up even thinking about it now. But mainly because, like, again, 40 years ago, she made this movie in a 2 week, like it was her first break into Hollywood. It wasn't even really Hollywood because it was a low budget film. And it was just a group of kids fucking making a movie. And it went on to become like literally one of the most famous and iconic horror movies ever made. So
there were a couple of really good thematic scenes in this movie that make you recount the beauty of the original film.
Everything makes you recount the beauty of the original film because guess what? In 40 years, it's never been recreated and it never will. Because the brilliance of the original Halloween is that it was all done with lighting and mood and theater of the mind, baby.
I mean, that's where I give it its credit is like some of those thematic scenes that they filmed in this. The cinematography was great. But this story, the writing, the characters, I thought it was all trash.
So, all right, let's get to the fucking nitty gritty of it. Sitting at IMDb at a 5.1. People fucking very divisive. I even put a vote up on Twitter. I don't know if you saw this.
I saw that. Yep.
Let's do a vote check. I put a vote up last night. Love it, hate
like
it.
A yay or nay? Okay.
It was love it, hate it, or meh. And we got 40. The votes. We still got 46 minutes left on the vote, but 44% hated it, 20% loved it, and 36% thought it was just meh.
Yeah.
How many votes?
I think like 30 or something.
I'm probably in the meh category.
Yeah, no, I'm in the meh category. Nothing I said means that I love it, nor do I hate it. It's just kind of like, okay, I think for what they were trying to do, it was like, okay.
I hated it.
Definitely could have been stronger. So 5.1 on IMDb. I think it's getting hate bombed a little bit because people just wanted Michael Myers and didn't get that, so they're throwing a hissy fit.
That's whack, though.
Yeah,
like you said, how much Michael Myers can you really get? Like,
but I'm on the fence that I would have loved a Corey trilogy better than a Michael trilogy. So.
Yeah, I would give this movie a 6, a solid 6.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 6.
Dusty?
I think I can get down with the 6.
I give this movie a solid 5.
Okay, he's on par. Everything's fine, folks. Just like fucking chill out. Be open to new experiences. You don't need fucking Michael Myers in every film. But yeah, I don't know where this franchise goes. Who's to say? I hope because there's quite a few people who like this movie as well, as I've seen online, and I hope Blumhouse and Malek Akkad get the messaging and that like we could confidently do anthology movies called Halloween, and people will enjoy it. I want to see more stories, like cool stories.
Yeah,
because what this was, felt like 2 separate movies in one. Like that's what it really felt like.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know. I liked the messaging.
Yeah, it really did. Like, in specific.
You're better than this, Blumhouse. Do better, be better.
Just remember.
Yeah.
We'll always have Michael's legacy, and that's pretty much it. He's the immortal boogeyman, and you don't kill the boogeyman, but he's an unexplainable mystery. And
he got Blint. Though.
That's the point. There's a lot of people that are fucking arguing with me last night on Twitter, like, Michael Myers can't be killed. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? That was never explored.
He's a man.
But even still, like, that's...
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Now you're a man.
40. Well, that's probably 45 or 50.
That's what makes him such a compelling character is that We don't fucking know. That's the supernatural edge that John Carpenter
right.
talks about. Is
That's
that you don't
right.
know. So
He's fucking Hancock, really.
yeah, that's our thoughts.
That's one thing that we got in
He's Hancock.
a lot of the older movies is they left it to your imagination, where now people want it explained to them in detail. Or
Theater of the mind. The original movie is like Hitchcockian. It's a Hitchcock thriller. That's why it's so fucking good. They don't even show you blood. You get like a drop of blood in that entire movie. People are fucking arguing me online. They're like, Halloween is a fucking brutal slasher movie. I'm like, what? The fuck are you saying? So again, I don't want to be gatekeepy, but like anybody that's saying that, it's like you can't be a true fan of this fucking series if that's what you think. Maybe I have a different vision of what this franchise could be, because while I love Michael Myers, I respect and admire John Carpenter's original vision for the character, that he was never meant to come back. So I'm already in my head, because I love that so much, that premise, that ending that lands so well, and really drives home that he is the boogeyman, right? Not the literal boogeyman, everybody, but the boogeyman. You know, I'm prepared for movies like this one. And that's why ultimately I think I liked it more than I hated it.
It takes a good artist to do that, though. Like that's a human emotion, is you are most afraid of what you don't know or either don't understand.
Yeah.
So when a director or a writer can come in and display something that you're like, oh my God, like you're confused and enamored and enthralled and thrilled by it and scared by it. Like questions.
And that's why
you gotta have questions.
And that's why the first film is so effective, because you have the blank slate mask, you have the no backstory, you've got this.
The more you flesh it out,
the worse it becomes.
The less scary it becomes, and the worse it becomes. Yes, so it is a problem.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is why from its inception, this trilogy was doomed from the get-go, because they brought Michael Myers back. Had they not, a totally different thing unfolds. But anytime you bring Michael Myers back, you're bastardizing and cheapening what was originally written for the character. I will never change my mind on that. Halloween 1 for life. That's the only movie in the series for me. That's it, folks. We got to get out of here. Thank you for watching or listening. Let us know what you think of Halloween Ends and this David Gordon Green trilogy as a whole. Be nice about it. We all like what we like. Check us out on YouTube and our website, harshlanguage.tv, and we'll catch you in the next one.
See ya.
Asta.